Okay, question number 1. Which one of the following is not a function of parathyroid hormone? Okay, so let's stop the video for 5 seconds so you can think about your answer. Okay, let's take a look at the options then. Promote calcium reabsorption, stimulate osteoclast activity, lower blood calcium. No, the job of parathyroid hormone is to increase the blood levels of calcium. Okay, so let's take a look at the figure. So right here we have low levels of calcium triggers the release of parathyroid hormone. So then what is the job of parathyroid hormone? To increase the levels of calcium. Right? So then one thing is the function, another thing is what triggers the release of that hormone. Right? So then the function of the parathyroid hormone is to increase calcium in blood. Going back to the question, so then obviously it would be lower blood calcium, and that is not the function. The function is to actually to increase that. So if we look at the other options, promote calcium reabsorption, that is true, right? If you reabsorb more calcium, you have more calcium in your blood, which is the function. Stimulate osteoclast activity. Obviously, the osteoclast is going to remove the calcium from the bone to put it in the blood, so the calcium levels in blood increase, which is the function of parathyroid hormone. So the next option is promote calcitriol synthesis. So if we create more calcitriol, which is vitamin D, we're going to be able to absorb more calcium from our intestines into our blood, so the calcium in blood will increase. And then inhibit osteoblast activity. So if we do not activate the osteoblast, so the osteoblast will not take the calcium from the blood to put it in the bone, so therefore the levels of calcium will increase in our blood. Next question. Okay, let's stop for 5 seconds so you can think about your answer. Okay, and we have different options in here. Bone elongation, so it's talking about bone, right? That's got nothing to do with the muscles. Osseous tissue growth, fibrous membrane. No, it's not because of fibers. It's not because of fibers in here. This is also fibers. So let's take a look at that then. And right here we have bone growth by elongation, and that happens at the epiphyseal plate because there is what in there? Hyaline cartilage. So then obviously the answer should be cartilage. So that's what we have right here, cartilage growth, right? And we have cartilage until we turn more or less 15, 16 years old. At that time, we don't grow anymore because then this area where we have cartilage is completely covered now with bone, and therefore we stop growing. So therefore, osseous tissue is not the answer because that's bone, right? So and that's when we stop growing. We grow only when we have cartilage in there, and that happens, as I mentioned before, when we turn 15, more or less. And remember, bone growth is in length as well as in width. And in this case, they are talking about only bone growth in length, right? Which is going to be bone elongation, as you can see right here. Next question. Intramembranous ossification produces the... Okay, so let's stop the video for 5 seconds so you can think about your answer. Okay, and we have in here short bones, long bones, flat bones, irregular bones. Most of the bone ossification happens because of the presence of cartilage. So the answer in here should be straightforward. So let's take a look at the figure. Right here we have intramembranous ossification, and down here at the bottom says produces flat bones of the skull and clavicle. So going back to the question, the answer should be flat bones in the skull. As I mentioned before, long bones are built from endochondral ossification, right, which is from cartilage, as well as the other answers in this question. Next question, which one of the following is an inorganic component of the bone matrix? Okay, let's stop for 5 seconds. Organic compounds are those that have carbon, and proteoglycans is proteins that have carbon, right? Glycoprotein is another carbon in there in the proteins. Collagen is also protein, right? It has carbon in there. And then we also have glycosaminoglycans. So that one also has carbon. Hydroxyapatite. That one is where calcium is. So let's take a look at the figure. Okay, so right here we have the matrix of osseous tissue, and we have organic matter, inorganic, right here, hydroxyapatite. That should be the answer. Going back to the question, and right there, hydroxyapatite. Next question, which one of the following is not a function of the skeleton? And we have in here protection. So protection is the function of the skeleton. Provide support of muscle. Storage, yes. Storage of calcium. Let's take a look at the figure. Okay, and right here we have the skeletal system, support, protection, etc. And right here at the bottom, blood formation, right? Not blood storage, blood formation. Going back to the question, that should be the answer, right? Storage of red blood cells, because the question says which one is not. And next question, which one of the following tissues is not found as part of a long bone? Okay, let's stop for 5 seconds. Okay, and we have in here long bone, and if it's a bone, then obviously it's going to have osseous tissue. Nervous tissue is also part of the bone. When we break our bones, hurt because obviously there are nerves in there. Adipose tissue, cartilage, transitional epithelium. So let's take a look at the figure. And right here we have long bones, and right here in the middle we have adipose tissue, right, as part of the yellow bone marrow. Osseous tissue you can hear because that's bone. We have blood, we have nerves. Okay, so let's take a look at the answer then. And right here we have transitional epithelium. Obviously, that one is not found in the bone, right? We're going to find transitional epithelium, for example, in the urinary bladder, but not in the bone.